another. The Senate Judiciary Committee will vote on a recommendation to confirm whether Dr. Ford testifies or not. So how are senators supposed to decide who to believe? The panel joins me tonight from the RNC, where she serves as spokesperson. Kayleigh McEnany is here, along with National Taxpayers Union senior fellow Mattie Duppler is back, and she's a correspondent for the Greg Gutfeld Show and a fantastic writer. You can read her work in National Review. Kat Timpf, welcome everyone.
Thank you, Kennedy.
So this is an S show of the highest order, and we're trying to figure out what's going on with these negotiations between the Senate Judiciary Committee and Dr. Ford. What do you make of what's going on?
I am so confused, and I don't know what to believe. I think that on the one hand, why would somebody make this up? What does she have to gain? I mean, her life has been destroyed to an extent, too. She doesn't feel safe. She has people threatening to kill her, so on and so forth. On the other hand, as you mentioned before, normally when we see something like this, we see multiple people come out and say, oh, he did it to me too, he did it to me too. Normally someone who does this kind of stuff doesn't do it just once. I think that a lot of the opinions that people have on this issue are formed based on partisanship rather than the facts. If you're liberal, you want her to be right, so you say, I believe her.
Hashtag we believe you.
Yeah, we believe you. Or if you're conservative, you say, I want her to be wrong, so there's no way that she's telling the truth. I think that a lot of the two sides have been decided based only on partisanship, because if you look at the facts, I feel like it's really impossible to know.
All right, so, I mean, is there any clarity we can gain from the testimony of these two people? What can they possibly say that will take people, because it is political trench warfare.
Exactly.
And people are dug into opposite trenches on opposite sides.
Yep.
Is there anything that they can say that will bring them out of the trenches?
I think that you laid it out pretty clearly with Ben, what's at stake here. The question of whether or not someone is innocent. Do we even have senators who care whether or not Brett Kavanaugh is innocent? I think that will be borne out. I think Democrats will have to answer for their behavior here. The real crime here is that Dr. Ford is not actually getting her opportunity to explain her side of the case and make a compelling case for what happened here, because she's already been used as a political pawn. Dianne Feinstein sat on her accusation for months and months. How would you feel if you were someone who's coming forward with this information after decades potentially, and you gave it to one of the most powerful people in the country, and they decided they would hold on to it until it was politically expedient for them to use it?
For them.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that is an incredibly selfish act right there.
So all these crocodile tears from celebrities and the left and the progressive Twitter saying that this is all for victims everywhere, it's not. It's for a political aim, and they've exposed themselves for what they are by doing so at the 11th hour rather than bringing this forward at the time the information was available.
I mean, what I'm wondering is, did Dianne Feinstein think that a letter like this would automatically disqualify Brett Kavanaugh without any examination?
To be honest, I don't think that that was even in Dianne Feinstein's calculation. I think what was in her calculation was the fact that she's up against a farther left candidate in her district, or in her state rather, in California. So she has to cater to this rabid left-wing base. So for her, I think it was political calculation. But, you know, to add to your point, not only did they wait until the 11th hour, they leaked this woman's name without her permission. Democrats had this information. She did not want to come forward with this. It was somehow leaked to the press.
Yeah, and she had reporters on her doorstep. She knew exactly what they were cornering her over. And, you know, to your point, I don't think she's lying. I think something really happened to her. I truly, honestly do. And I think that's awful. I don't know if it's this guy. I mean, that's what's so problematic, and we have to find a way to prove or disprove that it was him. And, you know, I do feel for her, because to have a profile this high out of nowhere under these circumstances sucks. And you understand why she would ask Dianne Feinstein for anonymity, which she didn't grant her because she's so incredibly selfish. She had to use this as a political move. So the whole thing is really gross. But you guys are awesome. And we're going to more the panel a little bit later. First up, the drama continues in D.C. As long as the economy is booming, should the rest of the country care? We'll have a report on a record-breaking day in the stock market and what that means for you. Hopefully money. Plus, Kim Jong-un says he wants another summit with President Trump, but he's not exactly living up to the promises from the first one. So should the president tell him to take a hike? That's next.